Thank you for joining Veilux webinar. This is the webinar over the Veilux IP line. Veilux debut new IP line. Veilux is excited to announce its new IP line of cameras. It is a professional grade product designed for virtually any surveillance camera solution. Veilux is delighted to introduce these cutting edge technology advanced IP cameras to the professional market, feature our typical aggressive pricing. On this webinar, we will go over some of the basic of IP and IP cameras, as well as what makes Veilux IP cameras the answer for your IP camera solutions. Network basic terms. IP Internet Protocol. The Internet Protocol is a method of transmitting data over a network. Data to be sent is divided into individually and completed independently packets. Each computer or host on the Internet has at least one address that uniquely identifies it from all others. And each data packet contains both the sender address and the receiver address. IP address. An IP address is simply an address on the IP network used by a computer device connected to a network. IP addresses allows all the connected computer devices to find each other and to pass data back and forth. What is PoE? Power over Ethernet, or active Ethernet. Eliminates the need to run power to devices and on a wired LAN. Using power over Ethernet, installers need to run only a single Cat5 cable, Ethernet cable, that carries both power and data to each device. This allows greater flexibility and a significant decrease in installation cost in many cases. The first one is the data going to the camera and then power going to the camera. The second picture is data going into a PoE injector, which this is a PoE injector, and then the power goes into here and the power and data goes to the camera. This, a PoE injector or a PO switch, is what is mostly common seen in most setups. You do have this one, which is very rare, which is a PoE NIC card going directly to a camera. Therefore you don't have any switches or anything, but this is uncommon, and this one is also, this one's normal, where you have your Cat5 cable going directly to the camera and then you plug in the camera nearby to electrical outlet. This one right here is very common with PoE devices. Why IP versus analog? Wide coverage. The bottom line is that is only one reason to choose analog cameras over IP cameras. It's cheaper. But don't forget, you need about 6 analog cameras to get the same resolution as one 2 megapixel camera. So is it really worth it? When the days of recon happened for burglary, vandalism, liability, employee theft, workman's comp injury, lawsuits, the question stands: when is it time to find out what happened and you can't see the details you need? Was it worth the cost to save the money? What money did you save when you can't view the details? It looks good on the TV screen, but when I zoomed in, I couldn't see anything. I've heard it over and over in the old analog days when we had no other choices. That day has passed with the Megapixel IP technology. The only reason most competitors don't do IP cameras is because they don't know how to do the IP cameras. There's no other excuse. Here is where we have 4 cameras, or 4 analogs, and basically here's where we have the diagram. 6 analog cameras equals 1 megapixel. 1 camera here, 2 camera here, 3 camera here, 4 camera here, and then if you spread these out you could actually add 5 and 6 on here. But this one analog camera would see just this much, another analog camera would just see this much, another one this much, and another one this much. 1 megapixel would see this whole picture. Get exceptional details when using Veilux IP cameras. When motion and area, a megapixel camera provides superior image quality compared to the standard resolution camera. As illustrated below, which compares an analog, a 1.3 megapixel camera, and a 2 megapixel image, the license plate in the 2 megapixel image can be easily defined. But not only in the case of analog resolution. Thus, in this application where occurred identifying is required. A megapixel camera image can provide more details, information that is obscured when using an analog camera. Once again, we compare side by side an analog camera and an IP camera. Look at the results we get. In analog, you cannot make out the plate number of the car, where with a Veilux IP camera you can clearly zoom and get the license plate number. Here we have an analog 0.3 megapixel analog camera. You've noticed when we try to zoom in, it's all distorted. With the same magnification applied to both license plates, here the 1.3 megapixel, you get a much more clearer picture and you can make more out of the actual license plate. Here we've done a video of an IP camera versus analog. Hello, my name is Kevin with Veilux, and right now we are showing you a snapshot of a Veilux analog camera. And this is a 700 TV line camera that you're currently seeing. When you go to IPs, and like we've stated about the IP stuff, the picture, crisper, quality and everything, this is a picture that you're now seeing of it in IP. Basically, the images are almost the same. You do have as I said, a much more wider image, still crisper and clearer, but as we state, how can this be up to 6 cameras? The further the distance is when this is actually done. Also, we were talking about digitally zoomed. This camera is actually zoomed in right now digitally and zoomed all the way out. As we can see, you can do more zooming without losing the picture quality like you would with a regular analog camera. After, like, usually if we're here, you could probably do this on an analog before, and even at this point with an analog it's still distorted, as we seen earlier with the license plates. Where here you can have here, or you can be zoomed up even more and you still have a picture quality crisp, not all distorted like it was with the analog. After 2x it's becoming more and more zoomed. Here is a picture, as I said, in analog, in IP, and here's the picture in analog. As you can see that you have much more of a wider course in range with the IP versus the analog. Also, we're going to show you a demonstration of what the IPs look like at nighttime. Now here's the analog camera at night mode with IRs. Still, once again, you have to be zoomed in very close, or you don't have a wide area that you're able to see. And then with the IP you can see off in the distance, and then you can also as well still zoom in and see. Now we also have something called smart IRs, and also when you walk, the person begins to walk. Go ahead and walk forward, Kelly. You'll be able to see, you'll be able to make more out of the face and everything. You'll be able to make out a crisper picture, where in the analog camera you don't have as much facial recognition. You don't have a wider range. As we can see, she's well off of the picture on the analog. Go ahead and back up, Kelly. She's just now getting into the picture on the analog, where on the IP camera was still all the way in the picture the whole time, with close to almost 10 to 15 feet to still go before she was actually out of the picture, where on the analog she only has like 10 feet, if that, to work with. So here, this is another reason why IPs, they can cover a wider range, a better quality of distance, and as we stated, you can have up to 6 analog cameras pointed in different areas, where one IP camera can do what 6 analog cameras do, and you have a better quality and a better picture with IP cameras. Go ahead and walk forward again, Kelly. And this time walk straighter towards the camera. And get really close to the camera. Okay, as we've noticed right now, we've seen some darkness happen in the background while she was walking closer to it. Go ahead and put your hand up closer to the camera. Like really close. Once she got up close to the camera with her hand and everything, you've noticed the background turned almost completely dark. This is called smart IRs. What happens is a smart IRs recognizes like motion and everything when it's close to the camera. So therefore the IRs automatically adjust to where the IRs will be focused on the item up in front, and not always everything full bright and everything would be washed out. So it's got more focus here, less focus on the back, so everything's not brightened and washed out. And this is a function called smart IRs. Cons of analog cameras: 0.4 megapixel max resolution, 50-year-old technology, very sensitive to interference and ground loops. Long distance applications are more difficult if your surveillance needs encompass a wide area. Analog cameras may not be your best choice. Analog cameras generally do not accommodate big long distance, and getting them to work over broad ranges can be difficult. Wireless analog cameras are unreliable and are poor quality, and underground cables are extremely prone to lightning and a whole host of other problems. Pros of IP cameras: 6 to 20 times higher resolution, very easy and reliable transmit wirelessly over long distance, can be utilized existing wiring because IP-based cameras act as their own network device. You can often take advantages of existing network wire within your home or business. This can make the installation task much easier. Easy remote access. Veilux IPs can be viewed on nearly any PC, tablet, integrated camera. Most IP cameras allow you to back up videos onto a micro SD on the camera itself. This is a useful backup in case of the NVR is broken or stolen. Simple to wire and install. IP cameras send video and are powered by only one small Cat5 cable, which saves time and eliminates clutter. One Cat5 cable can be used to send any camera back to the NVR, thus saving time and money spent on running many different wires. You can continually adding cameras one at a time without purchasing DVRs in multiples of 4, 8, and 16. Basic terms: resolution in frame size. Resolution refers to the number of pixels in an image. Resolution is sometimes defined by the width and height of the image as well as the total number of pixels in the image. Here we've got a diagram showing what 4CIF resolution is, 2CIF resolution is, 4CIF resolution, which is VGA, and then 4CIF D1 resolution. You can see the resolutions on those are very small compared to a 1.2 megapixel, a 3 megapixel, a 2 megapixel, and which is even larger, a 5 megapixel. Analog camera. Analog cameras are usually 320 by 420. VGA is usually 640 by 420. Here, VGA is 640 by 480. Here we have a picture of CIF and a regular VGA connection looking at a camera shot. IP cameras. 1296 by 968 full page 1.3 megapixel, and then also 2592 by 936 full widescreen page 5 megapixels. As you can see much more information, and then also when you zoom in this picture you can see much more as well, and you can zoom in where 1.3 megapixel you can see quite a bit, but you still miss quite a bit over here, and you're still missing some stuff over here and towards more the back. So these are the more things that you will see with an analog versus the differences between a 1.3 megapixel and a 5 megapixel camera. Why IP over analog? Market adoption. Why IP versus analog? Use of an existing infrastructure. Fewer cameras need for the same coverage. High quality, recording images, zooming, long equipment, shelf life, multi-purposes with on-camera analytics, multiple deployment options. Industrial research money is going into IP. IP versus analog. The picture quality resolution. Megapixel IP cameras have a resolution up to 11 megapixels compared to the analog, which is only at 0.3 or 0.4 megapixels. Imperative for identifying clear details of face, items being purchased, license plates, forensic details, loss prevention, and general surveillance. Ability to zoom and enlarge far better than analog. Cost effective and efficient. A single Veilux Megapixel IP camera can replace 6 analog cameras. This is possible from the clarity, zoomability, and wider angles of the cameras. Fewer cameras require less maintenance, less install, and lower system setup cost. Less hardware updates are needed. Lower cost for cables using Cat5. Can be added to an existing analog system to help reduce overall initial replacement cost. Technology advancements. Data can be sent and received through a computer network. Can be viewed your surveillance system anywhere over the internet. Increased motion detection and a sharper image quality even in poor lighting. Progressive scanning. This proceeds of scanning images and playing back video produces a much more smoother and eliminates the flicker effect. This is especially crucial for observing fast movement such as criminals running or driving away. Analog interlace versus IP progressive scan, which we were just talking about. IP cameras are using progressive scan, whole picture is taken in one step, not two steps like with the interlaced scan with IP cameras. This feature is making a huge increase in the picture quality. As we can see, during fast movement, you can see how there's lines, jitterness, and everything through the regular analog cameras that are using interlaced scan. On IP, you're using progressive scan, much more clear picture, smooth picture, and it's not all distorted like it would be on an analog camera. How does the IP camera system works versus an analog camera system? An analog signal comes from the CCD board. An analog signal comes from the CCD board, and then it is converted to a digital signal by an analog to digital, converting therefore processed by cameras onboard signal DSP. For IP, the image is compressed internally, encoded and transmitted via an IP protocol Ethernet, and is either stored in the camera or in the NVR. For analog cameras, the image is then converted back to analog by the digital to the analog converter, so the image can be transmitted to a video monitor or a DVR where the image is encoded and is stored. As we can see, the IP takes less steps to do, where the analog has more steps, and that's why the video and everything is not as good, because there's more steps involved, there's more converting to be done, plus less stuff that is needed to run an IP versus an analog. Choose Veilux IP. Here's why. Our aggressive pricing offer lower than either ACIT or Axis. Free basic software for each IP camera purchased. New exciting technology. Tech support based out of Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. OnViv compatible. During 2011 and 2012, Cloud Computing Professional Solutions. A complete full series of HD IP cameras. Complete full series of HD decoders and NVRs. Image process algorithms. Software platform for cloud computing. Software platform for middleware. Applications for mobile equipment. Future integrations with the IP department is what Veilux is expanding to. Continuously improving the software hardware of our products. Research new technology applications of the IT industrial. R&D on technology for our customers' experience. Research new applications for video. Flash on camera. All Veilux IP products are with flash video. Any current browser supported with flash players. Works on non-Windows systems as in Mac and Linux and Electra. Supports for handheld devices if flash is supported. Windows, Macs, Linux, and mobile supported. Multi-profile and multi-streaming. One single camera from a Veilux can produce 5 independently different video streams. This feature exceeds the intelligent bandwidth management of traffic control. For instance, Profile 1 Full View HD, Profile 2 Small View SIF resolution for mobile devices, Profile 3 D1 Video and Audio resolution, Profile 4 Real-time video cropping, important area monitoring, Profile 5 Photo image, or email notification. Network Video Recorders Professional runs on Windows servers, can manage up to 144 cameras, remote recording and playback at the same time, real-time surveillance or real-time video surveillance, simple to use interface, motion detection, alarm monitoring, two-way audio, full duplexing audio, PTZ controls, multiple record modes. These are just some of the options that you can do on the new Veilux software that comes free with all the Veilux cameras. Mobile device software, real-time IP monitoring, full camera configuration, search IP devices, IP PTZ controls, image snapshots. Software is free to download from the app stores. This is where we've got it on the iPads, Androids, smartphones, and other devices. Veilux cares about details. Design is easy of installation, patient. Design with the latest 3D CAD modeling. Multi-purpose analog IP. In-house engineers. Case for all situations. Here's the cases that we do have for all the Veilux IP cameras. The Veilux box camera. We have two box cameras. We have the V.S. IP-2. It's a full HD IP box camera, 1080p. Digitally clarify. CMOS image technology, 1 lux, with removable IR cut filter, 12 volt DC or PoE. The V.S. IP-5, the 5 megapixel IP box camera. Digitally clarify, CMOS image technology, 1 lux, 1.2 with removable IR cut filter, 12 volt DC or PoE. The bullet camera. It has an access panel on the bottom. It's IP66 rating, optional back box fitting, external adjustments, quick fit base, easy controls, and it's also PoE compatible with 1080p capabilities. The VB IP-2 L2812. It's a full HD IP IR bullet of 1080p. Digitally clarify CMOS imaging technology. 1 lux, 1.2 with IR cut filter, 12 volt DC with PoE, auto iris, varifocal megapixel lens of 2.8 to 12, IR distance is 25 to 30 millimeters, 32 piece IRs, IRC 66 or IP66. The VP IP-5 LR2812. It's a 5 megapixel IP camera, digitally clarify CMOS image technology, 1 lux, 1.2 with IR cut filter or removable IR cut filter, 12 volt PoE, auto iris, varifocal, megapixel. Lens is a 3.3 to 10 millimeters IR. Distance is 25 to 30 millimeters, 25 piece IR LED with IR cut filter, IP66 rating. The dome camera. Internal micro SD like all the other ones, 3D axis movement, 12 volt DC and PoE, IP66 rating, IR LED. The Vandal domes. The VVIP-5 ILR3310. It's a 5 megapixel IP IR Vandal dome camera. digital clarity CMOS image technology, 1 lux, 1.2 with removable IR cut filter, 12 volt DC power or PoE, 3 axis, auto iris, varifocal, megapixel lens, 3.3 to 10 lens. IR distance is 10 to 15 meters, 21 pieces IRC with IP rating of 66. The VVIP-2L2812D is a full HD IP IR vandal-proof camera with 1080p picture. Digital clarity CMOS imaging technology, 1 lux, 1.2 with our removable IR cut filter, 12 volt DC or PoE, 3 axis, auto iris, varifocal, megapixel. Lens is a 2.8 to 12 millimeter lens. Distance is 10 to 15, 21 IR LEDs with IR cut filter, and the IP rating is 66. PTZ Megapixels, 1.3 megapixel CCD 18x zoom, 2 megapixel CMOS full HD 22x zoom, pendant, corner, wall, pole brackets are available. There are also IP66 rating, and they are full 1080p HD ready. The Megapixels PTZs. The VP IP 2M20X. It's a 20x outdoor HD IP PTZ camera with a Sony 20x zoom module, 12x digital zoom. It's got a 0.005 lux in black and white, 3 DNR, 24 volt AC, 2.5 amps in privacy zone. The VP IP-13M18X. It is an 18x outdoor HD IP PTZ camera, an 18x zoom module, a Sony or 1/3 Sony Excite View, CCD day and night, 0.1 lux, 24 volt VAC, 2.5 amps. PTZ D1, a Sony CCD 36x zoom, 540 TV lines, pendant, corner, wall, pole brackets, IP rating of 66. The VPIP D136X. It's a 36x WDR day and night IP outdoor PTZ camera, a 36x Sony WDR module, 540 TV lines, 36x optical zoom. 2 megapixel IP cameras, crossing noon, large viewing angles, detail clarity, good color reproduction. Square evenings, large viewing angles, detail clarity, good color reproduction. The main roads at night, high sensitivity to low level of lights. Intelligent positioning. Veilux modules. Veilux 540 TV lines 22x back in 2011. The 1.3 megapixel 18x at the end of 2011. 650 TV lines of the 18x in 2012. The 2 megapixel 22x is at the end of 2012, which has been released, and it's in the future. High resolution, high definition, precise focusing, zooming are more accurate. Veilux cameras are now compliant with ONVIV version 2.2 profile. More than 183 listed ONVIV compatible models with version 1.02 from ONVIV. You can go to www.onviv.org to see more. Partners with top-level CMS. We also have a list of some of the top-level CMS makers. The Veilux NVR Lite system. Intel i7 socket 1155 processor. Windows 7 Professional 64 bits. Supports up to 32 gigs of RAM. Supports up to 8 hard drives, or 8 internal hard drives. 1 gigabit LAN controller. 8-channel high definition audio codec. Supports HDMI, DVI, and VGA outputs. Supports RAID 0, 1, 5, and 10. The Veilux NVR Pro System. Supports Intel 4-core Intel Xeon E5620 processor. Windows 7 Professionally 64-bit. Supports up to 24 gigs of RAM. Supports up to 7 internal hard drives. A gigabit LAN controller. 7 channels of high definition audio code. Supports HDMI, DVI, VGA video outputs. Supports RAID 1 or RAID 0, 1, 5, and 10. Veilux World Market. Veilux supplies worldwide internationally. In conclusion, IP technology is on the rise and will soon become the dominant surveillance camera technology in the security industrial. Veilux is riding the crest of the wave of the new technology with its new line of IP product solutions. Call us today and let us help us discuss on how we can help you on your next project. Why choose Veilux? It's known for its aggressive pricing, quality product, 3-year warranty, US-based tech support. Does anyone have any questions?